Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Real Reds Talk, an authentic football fan channel dedicated to Manchester United. It's Tuesday, which means it's your breaking news show. We've got Dave De Gea II on alongside me, and we've got Sam Nistelrooy. There we go.
I'll take that. Dave's not happy with it, but I'll take that.
Well, because we're speaking about De Gea today, I just thought I saw the chance for Dave De Gea, and Dave De Gea sounds cool. I don't know if you'd agree with that, Dave.
Well, to be honest, like when I do like play in net, and I've had done for years, like at like 5-a-side, 6-a-side, 7-a-side. Years ago, I would have taken that as a hell of a compliment.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it's still a bit of a nice compliment.
Dave, where were you when I was playing like 7-a-side, 5-a-side? We never could get a keeper.
No,
ever.
No one wanted to go in there.
Nobody wanted to go in it. We never had a keeper.
No.
Well, it started like randomly. It was 5 of us, and like we just decided to start a 5-a-side team. Initially, we were just gonna swap around. But I thought, you know what? I was always like okay in net.
Team player.
So I decided to go. You know what? I'll just go in net. And that's when my fitness started plummeted. But like,
he's a team player, Dave. He is. I'm sure your distribution was much better than David De Gea's anyway. So it's not an indictment on your distribution or your commanding of your box. I'm sure he was much better at that. We are actually going to discuss David De Gea today, but we've got a few articles to get into. We've got some absolute nonsense about Neymar, which we're not going to spend too long on, I promise you. We've got Garnacho's made the decision to light everyone up at the Under-20s World Cup when he comes back from injury. Speaking of injuries, Bruno Fernandes, we're going to discuss that. Is it just a precaution? Could it be long-term or a couple of weeks at least? And we've had, like we just said then, a significant update on David De Gea's future, potentially. So, as always, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, and you are new to the channel, make sure you join the community and smash a like on the video. Big thank you today, by the way, to Stretford Paddock for having us on. We really appreciate you guys, and it's constantly showing us love. So, really enjoyed that, and a big thank you to you lot. Now, let's just straight off the bat, lads, start off with this fucking nonsense. I mean, I've literally not even bothered to research it because all I heard was Neymar and I heard the son and I was just like, don't like that. Yeah, that's all I need to hear. But if we are to entertain this story, fellas, my question to you two is give me reasons why not to sign Neymar.
Do you want a list or do you want just the obvious?
Just
one?
Whatever you feel like. When you saw that article and you saw us being linked, either give us reasons why you wouldn't sell him, or if you're more inclined maybe for him to move, which I don't think he will be, but you might shock me. Give me reasons why you would sell him.
Ego. I don't want him. I don't want that ego near the team. Never delivered on the highest level. And he's played in a league that's a one-team league. Never won the Champions League with PSG, despite the team they've built and the money they've spent. Also, his injury record is shocking. I don't know how half of these injuries are not legit either, because he seems to have the time around his sister's birthday off quite a lot, doesn't he? Every year around March, seems to
that is so
get
weird.
Injured, doesn't he?
Yeah. What is that with his family? Can we just park that? Because that's an interesting bit of it that I completely forgot about. I've seen things now. I don't know. This is just me. If I've read something that's not particularly accurate or whatever, of him squeezing his sister's bum or his mum's bum or something along the line? Have you seen that?
I've not seen it.
You haven't seen it. People know what I'm on about. There's a picture where he's grabbing his sister's backside, let's just say, for the better choice of words. It's a weird kind of family thing with Neymar. I don't know what's going on. I don't think it's like Game of Thrones vibes or
either way, his injury record, whether it's actual injuries or not, he seems to be injured 3-4 times a season. The ego is massive. The price point is going to be, 200 odd million, I'd imagine, around that. It's just more trouble than it's worth. Even if the rumours were true, which I don't think they are, because I think it started from like Foot Mercato or something like that, who've got a history of just absolute bollock stories. And then it was in the Sun, which just tells you all about the legitimacy of the story. By the way, don't buy the Sun. Absolute scum of a newspaper. So
yeah. I agree with 95% of the stuff you said there, Sam, because I think you said it wasn't successful. Is that what you said? One of your parts?
What's he won?
The treble with Barcelona.
Yeah, I mean,
under Luis Enrique.
I mean, recently.
Yeah, PSG has it, but Barcelona with Messi and Messi Suarez.
PSG's won nothing. Well, he's won a couple of league titles,
which is guaranteed, isn't it? If you play for PSG.
No Champions League, no World Cup, nothing. Like hasn't.
I agree with the sentiment in certain bits. Dave, are you a familiar opinion?
Yeah, it's one of them. You can't question how good he is. like one of these days, he can put enough performance that could rival any player in the world potentially that's ever been. Because he's so good. Like you watch him in the World Cup, like he was. On another day, they could have gone through and potentially even won the tournament because of what Neymar did, but unfortunately they conceded against Croatia. Like the guy's so good, but I think there's a reason why teams tend to struggle. Managers tend to struggle with at PSG. It's because of the way football's moving. Having players like you could probably have one player like Neymar in your team, where you can just sort of allow them the freedom to do what they do because they're so good. But like to have more than one is not good enough, not like really ideal. And I don't know if we necessarily got anyone like that at United. Maybe we don't. So if we were in a position where we needed to sort of like just this guy, we've got like a hole in the left or the 10 and we needed someone ridiculously creative, you could go maybe, yeah, I could see it, he's still great. But one, no, I don't even think he's the kind of player we need. But two, there's a whole other circus around him, isn't there? Yeah. And we've just got rid of one. I wouldn't like another one.
Well,
as good as he is.
The word you said there, like on his day, how many players we had? We were discussing Martial yesterday, Sam was discussing Pogba. Like on their day, they can be unbelievable, but it's how often do you get that? Yeah, you do have the injury worries, like how consistent can he be? Can we bring in another player who's on massive wages and just injured all the time? Do you think if it was a hypothetical situation and Ten Hag chose to bring him in for whatever reason, do you think he could still do a job at United? Do you think he would perform to the levels he's been performing at in Liga 1?
No. It's Premier League, different beast. You have to be your optimum level 90% of the time to succeed. That's why Paul Pogba didn't work when he came back, because he hasn't got the luxury of taking a game off or taking some time off, because you have to be on it 100%, because any team in the league can beat any team. Like, we've seen it throughout this. Like, Southampton gave Arsenal a game, almost beat them, and they're trying for the top of the league. League One, that don't tend to happen that much. Like,
I think Rangnick said that about the Bundesliga, didn't he? Yeah. He said, like, the teams near the bottom of the Bundesliga, they're not really nowhere near as competitive as, like, a relegation fight in Everton or whatever.
Whereas in League One, it's the similar thing. Like, PSG, 99% of the time will beat a Rennes or a Lens. Do you know what I mean? 99% of the time, they'll smash him. There is the odd occasion where it will happen, or when PSG take the eye off the ball or something, but 99% of the time, that's what happens. Premier League is totally different. If you're 90% good and you're still 10% off, a team like Leicester can beat United. We've seen it. A team like Southampton gives Arsenal a game. City have been beaten by like an Everton and stuff like that. It can happen all the time in the league if you're not 100% on it. And I don't think he's that sort of player. I think everything has to go extremely well. The temperature has to be right. The grass to be correct level. Everything has to be the optimum conditions for him to perform. And in the Premier League, it's not always that way. It doesn't happen very often. So I just think he's going to be another Pogba where we're just like, on his day, he's going to be good. But no, when this happens, when we get this player around him, when we get this structure, and it's just going to go on and on and on, and he's going to be earning an absolute shit ton of money, and we're just going to get annoyed at him. So it's just I do not want that.
I think that's where Pot struggled, wasn't it, Dave? Because you got Mbappe, Messi, and Neymar, and he likes a pressing team, very vertical pressing team, and they just don't play into that philosophy at all. But he's still, he's 31 years old, so he's not getting any younger. Let's just throw that straight out there. He's got 13 goals and 11 assists this season, can play in multiple positions. Am I selling it at all for you here?
It's one of them. For us, no. But purely because, again, that's sort of not what we need. However, all I can think is, like, if we had him and, let's say, instead of Sancho, I think we'd be doing a bit better.
Oh, it's a good point.
Or, can you imagine, like, City didn't have Grealish and they had Neymar left wing?
Yeah.
You're telling me, like, he's not getting a few more goals and assists than Grealish is?
Potentially, yeah. You make a good point. But does he need to come into a team? That's what I mean. Does he need to come into a team like City to
I think
flourish?
Pep would murder him, wouldn't he? Pep wouldn't deal with that shit. Like, he just wouldn't deal with him.
Probably not.
He's chucked out Cancelo for less, so he wouldn't.
It's one of them. I wouldn't want him, but at the same time, like, he's such a good player to watch. He's almost like a throwback player.
Yeah, he really is. He's like a little look. I don't use his name.
Just stuff with the ball, and you just go. Oof.
Yeah, like it's just phenomenal. Like some players, regardless how good they are technically, some players can't do what he does. They just really can't in terms of his agility, just the way he gets past people, his pace. He is absolutely unplayable on his day. And when he was at Barcelona, he was unbelievable. He really was. And I thought he never should have left Barcelona. I thought he should have stayed there. Because since he's gone to PSG, it's like you've just won the league after league after league. And if you've got Messi, Mbappe, and Neymar in a team, you're going to win leagues. It's just, and the rest of the team do the graft for them pretty much. It's inevitable, really. But yeah, let's just, I wasn't saying I would, by the way. I was just trying to play devil's advocate as much as I can. I wouldn't take him at United at the minute, but I'm just trying to push another side to see what you guys thought. We'll move on from this dribble then and move on to the next kind of article. So, a young, talented player. I know, sorry, guys. I was just trying to put something out there in his defense, but I agree with a lot of the stuff you guys were saying. We've got a young up-and-coming talent who's, I don't say similar to Neymar, plays a similar position. He's an exciting prospect in Alejandro Garnacho. Now, he has been called up by Argentina for the Under-20 World Cup, which is managed by Javier Mascherano. Now, United were reluctant to release Garnacho, who's edging closer and closer to injury, should I say, but the decision apparently has been made that he will be going. Sam, I know he's a young kid, but he'll be a miss, won't he, considering how our attack's been performing currently?
Yeah, obviously Rashford has been out with injury recently, only just returned, doesn't look 100% fit to me. Like, didn't in the Brighton game and the game before. So, and then our other option has been Jadon Sancho, who has been like average to poor at best, I'd say.
Garnacho's been better. If you're calling a spade, Sam, Garnacho's been better, hasn't it?
Yeah. So, and this was going to be my point. If we had Garnacho available instead of Sancho starting those games where Rashford was out, I think we would have won a couple of those, or we would have scored a few more goals with Garnacho in the team. I think he adds excitement. He'll take a player on. He'll run at players. He's direct, but he's also got a good pass on him. He can score goals. All the things Sancho isn't doing at the minute, especially not in buckets anyway. So I think we win a couple more games if Garnacho plays on that left-hand side. But yeah, hindsight's 20/20, innit? We'll never know because he's not been available, and neither has and Rashford hasn't either. So it's just, yeah. I wish he wasn't going. I wish he wasn't going there because I think he's just on the cusp back from injury. I know he's training, but if he goes there and he plays and he aggravates the injury or he plays too soon, then that's him done, innit? Like, he's done for I don't know how long. I don't know how long the tournament's on for, or when it starts. I'm not sure on the dates and stuff like that. But yeah, it's basically him out of the United team, which is another attacker or another forward out of our team, which we don't need at the minute. It's a headache we don't need.
Yeah. Just whilst I actually check that about the Under-20s World Cup, just to see when it runs from and how long we'll miss him. What has impressed you the most about Garnacho this season, Dave? Like, whenever you watch him play, what excites you about him and what do you think he maybe needs to work on?
The thing he needs to work on the most, I think, is what Ten Hag said in an interview a few months back, which is impacting games from the start as opposed to from the bench.
Yeah.
Which is it was a dynamic for a few weeks, wasn't there, where Garnacho would come off the bench for Sancho and look a better player, and then they'd swap it round and Sancho would come off the bench for Garnacho and Sancho would look like the better player. It's there was a similar dynamic a few years ago with Rashford and Martial actually under Mourinho. But yeah, the thing that like impresses me most about Garnacho is his ability to just he's fearless, isn't he? He's 18, 19, he's fresh out. It's like, I don't care, I'm gonna dribble at you, and that's sort of the wingers that United fans are used to seeing over the years. Everyone's just sort of reminded of like Cristiano and like obviously Rashford and players like that who were just willing to do that, and that's slightly stylistically different to someone like Sancho, who's a bit more technical and like keep the ball. So yeah, the most impressive is definitely just his fearlessness and willing to just run at people. It's great.
Yeah. I love how direct he is. That's his first thought in it, whereas Sancho's more like he's looking for the overlap, he's looking for underlapping runs, he's looking for combinational play, whereas Garnacho gets it, fuck this, mate, I'm just going straight at him. No problem. Yeah. And he terrifies defenders in that. Now, I'm checking the dates out. The 20th of May is when the group stage starts, and then the final is the 11th of June.
But he'll leave.
So,
He'll leave before that though, won't he? Because they normally leave.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like do a week or two of training, won't they, before the
Yeah.
thingy?
yeah,
So
so
he
it's
won't.
probably
He'll miss the FA Cup final because that's
Yep.
on the 2nd of June. So he's out for that, which is not great for United because that could be a fantastic option off the bench, like in the FA Cup
yeah.
final. So
yeah. Especially with discussing how fearless he is to bring him on in the final. He would run at people, tired legs. Like he could make something. They're the moments that can make stars. Do you know what I mean? Your Makeda moments,
he's
whatever
done
you
it.
want to call it.
He
Like,
did it against Fulham the last game for the World Cup. We were 1-1, and it's like, oh god,
Yeah.
we're going into the World Cup break, and it's a 1-1 draw. Comes off the bench, scores a last-minute winner. We go into the World Cup 3 points, and things are better. So he's done.
yeah.
It
Well,
before.
the assist against Man City when we beat him 2-1 for Rashford was fantastic. That is a perfect example of how fearless he is because he tries putting a cross in the first time. It's like, nope, that angle didn't work. I'll go out on my left foot, put it back in, and Rashford scores, and we win the game. He has had big moments at United, to be fair. I know if you look at his stats, goals, whatever, it'd be 6 goals and a couple of assists. But for an 18-year-old kid doing what he's doing at United, I think he's been a revelation. I think he's been phenomenal. And I think the youngsters we have in our ranks, in Ahmad, in Palestra, in Garnacho, these are exciting players to bring through now for next season and pre-season as well. How high do you think his ceiling is, Dave? I know it's a bit of a small sample kind of pool to go off, but how far do you think, if he can stay dedicated, how far do you think he can take it?
This guy's a limit, I think. He's if he has the ability now to come and be like a really good like option off the wing for Man United, who are trying to push for like multiple trophies, and we're already like, yeah, he's probably one of our better wingers, probably our second choice left winger behind Rashford, who has been one of the best players in the league this season. Like,
Yeah.
and he's 18. I think the sky's the limit. The kid's, I think he's really well rounded as a kid as well. He's not like he's 18. He's not always going to make the right decisions, but you feel like he generally makes the right choice with what he does. Like when he decides to run or shoot. Like I just think he's really well rounded for 18. He's gonna go far if he can keep fit and keep his head on straight.
Such a weird comparison, isn't it? Like if you look at Sancho, the way he plays, he just hesitates. It's like he doesn't know what the right decision is, and he waits and takes an extra touch, and then by that time he's either lost the ball or the pass has gone or the opportunity's gone, and it's like you just wish he would have a more instinctual approach similar to Garnacho and just go, I'm doing this, but he just hesitates and takes too much time on the ball. By the way, I don't know if you saw a notification go off. Kush Patel's just subscribed to the channel, so thank you very much.
Yeah, big up to Kush Patel, legend. Yeah, Garnacho's an interesting one. I can't wait to see I'm so excited to see how it develops under Erik ten Hag, because the reason I think a lot of our talented players suffered over the last few years is because he didn't have the proper coaching. I'm not saying Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's not an half-decent coach or whatever. He obviously had them training and doing drills and stuff, but ten Hag just takes it to that next level in his methodical kind of fashion. And I think a young player right now would love to be under Erik ten Hag. He's just perfect at coaching him and like we said, we know how detailed he is. Yeah, can't wait. Hopefully, I don't know, maybe Argentina could go out earlier. I don't have a clue, but I wanted to see him towards the end of the season. It's a bit of a blow for me, that, because he is exciting. He does get you up out of your seat, and he can change a game as well, despite his age. I think he's a fantastic talent, and we don't give our scouting thing credit a lot because they do get a lot of decisions terribly wrong. But picking up Garnacho, I think, was 9 million from Atletico Madrid. Potentially, it could have been getting Palestra, Ahmad, like these kind of players. You have to give some form of credit to him because they look like they're flourishing. It's early to decide, but they look like they could become that next player.
By the way, did you see the defensive performance Ahmad put in? Was it yesterday?
For
Sunderland.
No, I've not watched it yet.
I saw the clips earlier on, yeah.
Ridiculous. He was like in the box. He made about 5 blocks in the space of about a minute. It was insane. It's just absolutely
That's my boy.
insane. Yeah, so
I can't wait. I'm excited for pre-season, man. Very excited. We're
Oh,
just kind of dragging our way across the line now, aren't we, Dave?
It's yeah. I really hope. I was just looking at like the sources for the Garnacho news because I'd heard it as well, and like I'm not seeing anything concrete to say that he's definitely going. All I'm hearing is rumors that he's decided to go and play for what's it called? Like you're looking at Goal, the Sun, One Football. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we'll see. Maybe he'll decide to stay and play in a final. Maybe Eric will talk to him, or maybe he'll decide to go and try and win the under-20s World Cup. You can't really begrudge him either way.
No.
I think he probably
No.
should have gone to the Senior World Cup.
Yeah.
I think he was good enough. But
Yeah,
like, it's one of them. He'd
100%.
only played like a handful of first-team games, so you can't really blame the Argentinian coach for not taking him. It's a weird
Just
situation.
imagine the experience, though. It would have been with Alessandro. Alessandro taking him under his wings to little different pubs when he got back. Just being like, this is what you can have, kid. This is what you can have. Exciting times, man. Exciting. I hope you're right. Look, we can only report stories. Don't know if that's concrete evidence, but I hope you're right. I hope he does stay. I hope we get to see him towards the end of the season. Moving on to a more kind of senior player. This is another article. Well, I say article. Basically, his wife put a picture on Instagram and everybody had a meltdown. Bruno Fernandes was pictured with his ankle, leg, whatever you want to call it, on a pillow in some form of protective cast-looking thing. We know against Brighton, he picked up a knock and continued to play. I think he got brought off like the 101-minute mark for Weghorst. Is there any serious worry about Bruno, Sam, that he could be out for a while, or like I said, do you think this just is a precaution?
If you did the picture that I've got on the thumbnail, there is more of the picture next to the couch is a proper protective boot on. Do you know the similar one to that Eriksen was wearing when he got the Andy Carroll tag? And there's a pair of crutches there as well. So it's not just this like little thing. So it does look slightly serious. It could just be a precaution. I believe Jamie Jackson in The Guardian said it's just a precaution. He should be all right for the Spurs game. But obviously, when people see a player who's as important as Bruno is to the team with some sort of protective equipment on with crutches and stuff, you think the worst because you think about the way Alessandro left on crutches, he's out for the season. The way Eriksen left, he was on crutches, he was out for 3 months. So Garnacho, the same, he left on crutches, has been out since. So yeah, it's always a little bit of a worry, but I've not heard anything concrete. Obviously, I think Ten Hag's got his press conference tomorrow, hasn't he? So I imagine somebody's going to be asking him the question. I don't know if he's going
I'll be live for that, by the way. Just throwing it out there. I'll be live for the press conference. Make sure you come and join me for that.
I don't know if he'll give anything away. Probably not, because it's Ten Hag. But yeah, I'm sure somebody will ask about it. But if it's being reported that it's just protective, hopefully that's all it is. He can rest up, ice it, etc., and be fine for Thursday because we need him. I did put a poll in the chat before we started. I said if Bruno is out, who should play in the 10? 67% are saying Sabitzer, 33% saying Eriksen. Nobody said Sancho. So
interesting.
I'm just going to throw my thingy out there. I don't want Sabitzer to be in the 10 purely because I think then we've got 3 midfielders who are treating the ball like a hand grenade, like they were against Sevilla. I'd rather, even though Fred's not the best at like sort of keeping it, if we can play probably a slightly different way if Fred's there with Eriksen deeper, Fred higher up, and just try and press them a bit more because we're away from home as well. I think that's the smarter thing to try and do, personally.
I thought Sabitzer was good against Everton. He was decent in that game. I thought he was good in the first leg, quite advanced against Sevilla as well. But I do take your point about it's just not Bruno. That was literally going to be my next question. Like he does. Do you think Bruno, Dave, leaves the biggest hole when he's not here? Do you think he's the player we miss the most when he's out?
It's between Bruno and probably Martinez.
Yeah.
I'd say Martinez because obviously he's the person who progresses us from deep. And he's so good. It's sort of easy to forget how good he is because when Shaw comes in, he's actually very good as well, but he's not the same. And that's why the hole's it's like a different shaped hole.
Do you not think they're similar in the way they play at times? I think there's similarities between them. I think Alessandro's definitely better, but I do think there's the odd similarity in the game.
I know what you mean. Shaw's definitely surprised us all, but I just think once Alessandro comes back in and you see him fizzing those balls like through the lines, you're just like, oh yeah. This is what like a world class ball playing centre half looks like.
Yeah, probably one of the best in Europe. Like top 3.
The press resistance as well from Alessandro is.
Yeah, well, it's that clip there. But what happened with Maguire, and you saw it like when Alessandro was playing out. He had 3 people on him. He just chopped it onto his right foot, bended it round to the left back. And Maguire isn't capable of that.
He should be. In Premier League football, should be.
Oh yeah, especially in the modern.
With people at Saturday League, Sunday League level who would have taken that ball on the half turn and played it out.
Yeah.
But it's ridiculous.
Yeah. What about the captaincy then? Because obviously he is the. I know people say Maguire's the captain and etc. But Bruno is the captain here. Let's just face it. He has been for most of the season because Maguire hasn't played a lot. Going into next year, are you guys happy with him taking that full captaincy role full time, if you will?
Yeah, Bruno should be the captain, 100%.
Agreed.
Yeah, you're both in agreement with that.
Basically handed it to him instantly, and there's been no questions about it. I think we all knew that Bruno would eventually be the captain as soon as he kind of got given the armband by Oli in that Europa League game, whichever one it was. And we all remember that press conference, don't you? Because he looks at Oli and goes like,
shit.
Yeah. That was funny.
He didn't know. He was just like, oh.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Bruno's meant.
Sorry, a couple of comments here. Craig Mooney saying, bring back Adam. We need more Adam on the channel.
No, we don't.
Adam is welcome. He's got an open invite on it anytime he wants. He knows that. Shrindi saying, are buying selling Sabitzer? I heard they don't want to sell him. I've not seen much about that. Everything I've seen about Sabitzer. I've seen people pushing it and people behind closed doors saying that he's really happy at United and he really wants to move there, which why wouldn't you? Because he wasn't getting game time at Bayern Munich and he seems to be getting quite a lot now. So from what I've saw, Shrindi, I think it's the opposite. Craig Mooney as well saying, do we think Ivan Toney will join you in the summer? No, I don't think so.
He might have done if there wasn't for that whole betting thing.
Yeah, that's fucked everything up on it, the betting thing.
And with United being a PR darling, I don't think they would have anything like that.
Imagine if all that's bollocks and Brentford just leaked it so they want to buy him.
Yeah.
He's getting banned. He's getting banned. You don't want him. You don't want him.
Ivan, you'll have to stay, mate. With all this noise, that's the last thing you want on your conscience, mate. And then the last comment from Hani Ascari saying, news about Neymar. If you just scroll back to the start of the video, we've spoken about that in depth, to be fair, about Neymar. So if you want, just scroll back to the front and then you'll see.
Gave it more time than we probably should have, to be honest with you. But
yeah, absolutely. Last question on Bruno Fernandes, lads. What specific qualities do you like about Bruno? What do you dislike with the captaincy in mind as well? What does he need to improve on?
I think I want to say the petulance and the hand waving and stuff, but I think that's just who he is. I just think that's part of his personality.
Yeah,
he will fight every decision, no matter how small or how much he's probably in the wrong, because sometimes he is in the wrong, but he will just fight it. That's just his personality, and I think we've just got to sort of learn to accept it. Does it annoy me? Absolutely, but it's probably not going away because he's done it his entire United career, and I imagine he did it throughout Sporting as well. So I just think we've got to kind of accept it. I think he's a very good leader. You saw him on the side of the pitch during extra time and stuff. He was giving instructions, telling players, amping them up and stuff, which is what you want your captain to do. I don't believe I've seen Maguire ever do that. I've never seen Maguire like pull someone together or bring players together and go, you need to...
He just does that.
Yeah, or he just points, doesn't he? He points and just like what do you want? Also, just the funniest fucking thing, when Zinchenko pulled all the players together on Arsenal.
Yeah. It was
comedy gold.
American football, wasn't it?
Comedy gold, that shit.
Hey, we're falling apart. We're bloody falling apart.
Loved it. My favourite thing ever. But he's a really good leader. I think it says a lot, doesn't it, that David De Gea was the next one down to get the captaincy after Bruno went off, wasn't it?
Well, we're going to touch on David De Gea very, very shortly. Just before you get into your Bruno comments, Dave, we've got Brian Casey in the chat saying Evan Ferguson signing for Brighton could be a blessing for United. Has time to develop more at Brighton, and then we can sign him in 2 or 3 years to take over from Kane. There has been that kind of perspective, hasn't there, that if we was to bring Kane in, you need a kind of younger striker to tailor when he does get older and bring in. Who that's going to be could be Ferguson, could be Sesko, could be a number of players.
Cost a fortune right in 2 years.
Oh yeah, of course he will be. At Brighton, like you saw with Casido, they didn't accept £70 million for him. They sold Ben White for 60. They sold Cucurella for 60. They don't accept less really. So they'll let Evan Ferguson blossom in the Premier League, and then they'll like boom 100 mil. Come to daddy, basically. Yeah, Bruno Fernandes, sorry, Dave. Specific qualities you like, anything you think he can improve on, and I'm sure you already said that you're happy with him continuing to be the captain.
Oh, you mean specifically as a captain?
Well, anything. If you just as a player, as a captain, whatever you want.
What's not to like Bruno as a player? He's world class, isn't he? It's literally just basically him and De Bruyne are like the two most creative players in the league. ban on. You can put honestly when Liverpool were on form, you took Trent in there too because he does the same sort of thing. But,
Trippier for Newcastle as well.
Yeah, this season Trippier has been great, but it's like historically for the past since Bruno's been in the league, it's been like Bruno, De Bruyne for the most like chances created like consistently, and like he's unbelievable, man. And the way he sort of added sort of a calmness to his game this season when he's had to, he's been playing a little bit deeper. He's been treating the ball like less of a hand grenade as he's been criticised for over the years. He's started to slow down a little bit. Yeah, I've been really impressed with that. One thing I would is there anything I would change? Sam brought up the pendulums, but like again, I think he did an interview about it recently where he sort of explained that he's not actually sort of moaning. He's like, it's just like it's the way his body language on the pitch. It makes it seem like he's moaning or like he's being like thinking at people, but he's not. Like he wants to win all the time. He appealing for every single decision you want, and I like it.
Yeah. I mean, if he wasn't doing that, you would be worried, wouldn't you? If he wasn't, and I get it at times when it's extremely like sensitive moments, like Liverpool, for example, when he did put in a really shit performance. He ultimately is the captain, and he was fucking punching linesmen. He was throwing his arms up, like that is annoying. But again, it's just like he cares in it. It's just it shows that he cares. And I remember that clip from Sporting Lisbon, where I think they either lost a game or he got subbed off or something, and he's literally in the tunnel smashing shit up. Like he's taking frames off the wall, he's like punching stuff. So I'd rather have someone who's 110% committed and absolutely all in for Manchester United and have a little bit of petulance than someone who just doesn't care about the club.
Absolutely.
Yeah. With that said, let's well, not with that said, but we'll move on to the last topic. I saved this to last, especially for Dave De Gea the second. So there's a lot of different opinions on this one. Apparently, David De Gea is very close to signing a new contract with Manchester United. It feels like going into this one, we've got other priorities to attend to. The goalkeeper isn't something they want to address this summer, or at least they're limited to what they can do. First and foremost, Dave, like I said, I'll start with you first. Given the circumstances, do you agree with this?
It depends what the entirety of the circumstances. If he's getting brought on to be like saying, yeah, no, we like you, we want you to be the number one goalkeeper next year, and here's a wage to reflect that, even though yours is currently ridiculous. I'm like, no, what's going on? Like that makes absolutely no sense. However, if he's signing a deal because they're gonna try and let Henderson go, obviously, what's it called? Butland's just on a loan, top of third keeper. Keaton. Not sure what's going on if he's going to stay or go.
He's injured at the minute.
He's injured at the minute. Ten Hag likes to have like 3 senior keepers because like he's had that problems with Ajax before. I'm okay with him if he's going to be kept on as like a keeper at the club, but as long as there's like they bring someone in who's going to be like, right, De Gea, if you don't get your shit together, this guy's going to be on your heels and he is going to play a bit like, you know what, when Czech was sort of superseded by Courtois at Chelsea, they sort of made Czech the second choice.
Yeah.
And when Leno sort of slowly became the second choice at Arsenal, and after a few games, Ramsdale just got thrown in. If something like that happens next season, okay, it depends on what deal he gets, to be honest with you.
Yeah, because it's going to be hard, isn't it, to keep someone who's on. If he does take a pay cut, I use that lightly because it's going to be from like 375 to 250, which is still outrageous for a keeper. And he's sat on the bench. You're like, well, fucking hell, that's just going to be another talking point for the next year. And we're going to be sat here, lads, in 6 months' time saying, well, we've got a keeper there who's on 250 grand a week on the thing, and he's not even playing. He's not doing this. Sam, do you have the similar view as Dave the second?
Yeah, it's got to the point with David De Gea. He's not the right keeper for this manager and for this system. Doesn't work. We've given pretty much an entire season to improve on the flaws that he has, his distribution, being glued to his line, controlling his box, all these things that we've spoke about multiple times on every single game. And we've seen flashes here and there, but nothing concrete, nothing consistent. And I'm just at the point I would have just preferred to have let him go and just found somebody else. But obviously Ten Hag is prioritising other positions at the moment, striker, midfield, possibly a right back, even though that's a weird one 'cause with Wan-Bissaka's resurgence and stuff. That's a weird thing, but it's what it is. It would cost us quite a lot of money to replace him. So I get Ten Hag's thinking. It's like, right, striker is key. We're gonna have to spend a shit ton of money on that position. So I might as well take the hit on him for a year or a season or two, like Dave said, and then we look for a young goalkeeper to bring in. He starts challenging De Gea, you phase De Gea out, and then you have your goal. Maybe that's what Ten Hag's thinking. I have no idea. I just think there's a lot at play at the minute, other than just the fact that he's not good enough. But there's other positions that we need to prioritise, and I think that's what Ten Hag's doing. Obviously, if the Qataris come in and we sell really well with Dean Henderson, Eric Bailly, Phil Jones, Tellers, blah, 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 it could change the picture, and we could just go, yeah, let's just splash the cash and just get Diogo Costa, Harry Kane, Frankie de Jong, blah, blah. We could just go mental, but we don't know at this point. So I think Ten Hag is planning for the secondary eventuality that we don't sell well, or the Glazers stay, or that we won't have that much cash to deal with in the summer. Yeah, so I think that's what I reckon. He's preparing for that rather than the latter.
I agree.
Yeah. Brian Casey saying he's brilliant servant for United but needs to go. Doesn't suit Ten Hag's system. Only saving grace his saves has kept us in so many games. Yeah, and we say that every game, don't we? Every game we say that. We say the exact same thing. Niraj Sharma has said, you deserve more subs, mate. I agree, mate. I totally agree. Feel free to share it with people. Share it with everybody.
Yeah.
He said Sabitzer is better than Bruno. Bruno is mostly out of form this season. I don't know what games you've been watching, Niraj, but I think Bruno's been incredible. But each to his own.
So I mean, the only thing Sabitzer is better at is like having a ponytail.
Yeah. Poor Bruno.
And he also said Ten Hag should put Jones in instead of Maguire. I mean, I don't want to go from one calamity to another. That just sounds disastrous. Absolutely disastrous.
Yeah, Bruno Fernandes for me is arguably top 3 in the number 10 position in the world. Name him.
Class.
Stats don't lie.
Stats
don't lie.
No. Kevin De Bruyne, Ødegaard, and Bruno are probably your top 10s in the world at the minute. I'm willing.
I don't think Ødegaard should be in there.
What? Really? You don't think Ødegaard this season?
I think Ødegaard, as good as he is, I think he's one of them because he looks so clean on the ball. I reckon he's not quite as good as those two.
That has really surprised me. I think Ødegaard's a phenomenal
He's very good, but I just think that he's like a slight tier below those two.
I think he's been better this season than Bruno. Ødegaard.
But it's easier when Arsenal are a fully functional team and they've had
of course,
injuries.
But he is the captain of the club as well, like at a young age.
They're also a couple of years ahead in their development than we are.
They are.
We're
but
not there yet.
I get that. There's a lot of metrics you can look at. There's a lot of other perspectives. I completely understand it. I just think from on the eye, when I've watched them both this season, I think Ødegaard has played better football than Bruno Fernandes. Now, that may be a case of because Arsenal got the system sorted. They've progressed for the past 3 years and they've got to that point. And maybe Bruno will be at that point in 2 years himself when we've had that similar progression to under Ten Hag. But right now, this season, just in my opinion, I think Ødegaard's been better than Bruno. And if I was picking a team of the year, it would be Casemiro, De Bruyne, and Ødegaard in the midfield. I wouldn't have Bruno Fernandes in it. My opinion.
I think if we get, I'm not saying it's De Jong, but I think if we get a Frankie de Jong type player in that midfield, press resistant, ball playing, carrying midfielder, and a top level striker, I think Bruno absolutely blitz every fucking record. I think he just ruins the season with his record. I think he becomes the next level. I just think he's working with broken parts at times, inconsistencies, injuries, etc., which every team has to deal with, but he still put up fantastic numbers. I still think Bruno is above Ødegaard for me. Shah Sam is saying, am I the only person who would like to keep De Gea? I mean, Shreyas, I think, wants to keep him as well, so I don't think you're the only
Even
one.
Shreyas might be conceding to the...
Is he floating?
I don't know. I'm starting to see a couple of comments from him now where he's like, I don't know what's going on. So he seems to be going around to the idea. We kind of floated away from David De Gea. We're speaking about Bruno Fernandes. Just quickly back on it. If I was to give you both a blank checkbook right now, say the Qataris come in, whoever it is, to go buy a keeper, who would your number one choice be? So not like, I'd maybe take him, I'd maybe take it. Just one person you would definitely go and get.
Number one's Costa. I think he has everything that you're looking for.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Ball playing ability, can play out from the back, he's not a bad shot stopper. He's not De Gea level shot stopper, but saves quite a lot.
I don't think De Gea has been De Gea level for a few years now.
Yeah.
No, but some of the saves he's made this season have been fantastic.
We've had this conversation before.
Yeah.
De Gea has the ability to pull out saves you wouldn't expect a normal keeper to make because he's got great reflexes. However, the amount of shots that like normal shots you would have expected like a decent keeper to save has started to slip in.
Or just random mistakes. Random mistakes as well. Just
in 2017, he was faultless. He was the best keeper in the world, and like the reason we were second is because of him. Basically, he'd saved like so many more shots, but this season he's letting in more shots than you would expect him to. And even though he makes the odd incredible save, it's not worth it anymore.
Well, Dan's in the chat sorry, one sec, Sam. Dan's in the chat saying, to be honest, I've seen him in the Europa Cup and he sometimes make De Gea's like mistakes. Now, I agree with that because in the World Cup he was shaky for Portugal.
Yeah, I was about to say
he was really shaky. Yeah. But for Porto, he's performed quite well, and in the Champions League as well, he's looked good. So it's like, is that not a risk in itself, bringing him in? And if he starts making big mistakes in big games, everybody's going to like, oh, well, he's just doing what David De Gea is doing. De Gea was a better shot stopper. He's not saving the ones that De Gea would have done, but he is better with his feet. Will that narrative not kind of flip on its head then, and then everyone will be talking about that side of it?
It's not just his feet, though. He's better at commanding his box. He comes off his line. He's able to sweep and do the modern things that like an Edison does, and Alisson does. He does all those things that you want. So if his shot stopping isn't quite ridiculous De Gea level, then I'm willing to forgive that. Obviously, there's a bedding in period for any player who comes to the Premier League. We've seen Jadon Sancho suffer. We've seen David De Gea in his first season was terrifying, absolutely terrifying. Just any time a ball came into the box from a corner, I shit myself. I was just like shocking.
Still does that, to be fair.
I think any keeper is gonna, or any player is gonna have a period where we need to let them get used to the league, give him a season, feel it out and stuff like that. After 2-3 seasons, if he's still shocking, then you've made a mistake. But I just think people judge too quickly, and TalkSport are going to be like that. Then if we bring a new goalkeeper and he makes a mistake, you can see TalkSport already going, well, if they would have just kept David De Gea, he would have saved that. And you just like, you can't win. Like,
United get rid of legend who's been at the club for more than a decade and bring in a youngster who's not good enough and all that absolute bollocks.
Well, they talk shit anyway, don't they?
Yeah.
Like, it just gives them one more thing to talk about.
Exactly.
If I can just add something to this Costa thing.
Absolutely.
I think there was two mistakes he made in the World Cup. There was one that led to a goal and one that didn't. The one that led to a goal, I think, was when he went to try and claim a cross. It was actually quite far out and he missed it. Now, De Gea's not making that mistake because why? He's not coming off his line to try and claim the cross.
Yep.
Maybe they still concede anyway. And like, it's one of, you don't know. The second one, I think I can't remember exactly what it was now, but it was a bit funky. Sometimes it happens. He's still a young player, you know what I mean? Like, 22 is very young for a goalkeeper. It's one of them. I would rather my keeper make the mistakes where he's trying to be proactive than he's screaming in to try and do something. And like, I'd much rather deal with that. We've seen how even though Edison's not a very great traditional goalkeeper, he still allows City to control and dominate games. And as frustrating as Edison is for City fans, I know they've been moaning about him a lot this year. I think I'd still rather take him because he allows you to do so much more.
Yeah.
Mm. We've got a couple of comments and everyone's weighing in on this goalkeeper situation. What keeper would you all like United to bring in? I think we've already discussed that, to be honest. I've seen him. Oh, yeah, I've already read that as well. I agree with Costa. Great with his feet, commands his area, decent shot stopper, best all-around keeper out there currently. I still have to see more of Costa to see whether he can manage the pressure, especially in the Premier League. And in United, the pressure is already there on your shoulders. Of course, we saw that with the Bravco. It was it kind of melted under the lights, didn't it? And then Brian Casey is saying, is there any Premier League keeper you would take? I'll let you lads answer that if you want.
Everybody's saying Raya, aren't they? Everybody's saying that because his contract
That's
is
the
up.
obvious one.
He's done a decent job for Brentford. I mean, Brentford have been fantastic this season. They've got off for the boil a little bit recently. They've got a lot of draws, but for the most of the season, they've been really, really good, and he's been part of that. I really like Jose Sarr at Wolves. I think he's a quality goalkeeper. Really, really like him. Obviously, Wolves, their style and their system is boring as fuck. Like, I don't know if you've ever watched the Wolves game, but if you've got insomnia and you need to go to sleep, definitely watch a Wolves game because Jesus Christ. So yeah, I really like Jose. So I think he could be a quality goalkeeper. And then there's obviously Sanchez at Brighton, who's been touted about as well. So they would be three I would definitely take a look at if we're not going for Diogo Costa.
You've also got, I think, Southampton's keeper.
Oh yeah. Adam loves
young,
him.
But,
Adam loves
he's
him.
young, but like he's another one who's sort of got all those qualities.
Yeah.
And another one I've seen who's not in the Prem is the one who plays for Valencia. Even though they've struggled this year, he's actually still been quite good, and his like underlying numbers suggest that he's going to be a really good goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Have you seen what Valencia are going through at the minute? Just very quickly.
So messed up.
Honestly, their owner,
Peter Lim,
from Singapore, Peter Lim, yeah, he's actually got ties with Gary Neville.
Yeah.
I believe he has just been absolutely a disaster for that club. They were finishing fourth regular every season, and they just completely got off the boil, going closer and closer to relegation, selling players, top players that they had. Like Valencia are really going downhill.
Do you remember the glory days of Valencia? David Villa, David Silva.
Yeah. Even Juan Mata came from there as well.
Yeah, like I fell in love. Like everybody used to love Real Madrid, Barcelona. I fell in love with Valencia. Like during that peak Champions League era when La Liga was dominating it, Valencia, that was my team, man. I really enjoyed watching Valencia back in the day. So yeah, it's sad, man. It's really sad to see a club like that.
Yeah. I don't know how we got into the conversation of Valencia, but we're here. And we've I suppose that's just how it goes sometimes. We're having a chat. I hope you all enjoyed the show. By the way, guys, thank you for commenting, for all the nice stuff. Thank you for smashing a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Share it to a friend as well. If you have a friend who loves football content, needs something to watch whilst at the gym, whilst in the shower, on commute, whatever it is they're doing, just drop them a message. Say, look, check this out. Yeah, check this shit out. Check these lads, the shit out. But yeah, that does... Oh, go on.
Also, I think your video with Jay has just dropped while we've been live.
Oh, cool.
Head over to Stretford Paddock. Go check that out. Nick has done a preview for the Spurs game with Jay. We want to thank Jay for inviting us on. As always, he's been really good to us lately, especially. So
too nice, isn't he, Jay?
Yeah, he's too nice, man. He's so nice.
So he's a solid lad.
Yeah.
Like for the people who are quite high up, as you would say, he is the most down to earth lad you'll ever meet. Yeah. Honestly.
Proper chill. So yeah, go check that out. And if you do go watch Stretford Paddock video, leave a comment underneath saying you're from Real Reds. And that's where you've come from. Let them know. So yeah, go check that out as well.
Yeah, you've been on that like 3 times, don't you, Nick?
Yeah, becoming regulars. We're becoming regulars. We're getting there. We're getting there. So yeah, great stuff. That concludes the show for today, guys. If you want to follow us on social media for regular updates and clips from the show, all the handles are on the right hand side of your screen, or just type in Real Reds Talk and you should be able to find us. We will have the press conference reaction tomorrow. I'll be live for that, as long as it doesn't tie in with the preview. And then we'll have the preview for the Spurs game. Are we going to batter him? Are we going to absolutely smash him like Newcastle did? It's interesting times at the minute. Let's nail that top 4 spot on, and let's take it from there. So come and join us for the preview tomorrow, live from 7 o'clock.
My mate, and Dave's mate will be on the channel for the preview tomorrow. He's a Spurs fan. So if you are in the chat, take it easy on him. He's had a bad fucking season. It's not gone well. So be nice to him because he bloody needs a bit of support right now being a Spurs fan. So
I've certainly got some interesting questions to ask anyway. So it's going to be an interesting one. Come and join us, guys. Peace.